Good morning students. Welcome back to online class. Last class we have discussed about fluids, some basic concepts of fluids, thrust and pressure in fluids, pressure due to liquids and factors determining liquid pressure in liquids, pressure due to a liquid column and atmospheric pressure. And then mercury barometer also we have discussed in the last class. Today we are going to discuss about some more topics such as Pascal's law, hydraulic press, relative density and measurement of relative density. Let me pass on to the topic which is Pascal's law. Pascal's principle is named after Blaise Pascal. He is a French mathematician and physicist. The law states that the external pressure applied on an incompressible liquid is transmitted uniformly throughout the liquid. Look at the picture clearly, students. There is a piston. When we press the piston, that pressure will be applied uniformly, that pressure will be transmitted uniformly throughout the liquid. This is the law states that. Once again listen the law. The law states that the external pressure applied on an incompressible liquid is transmitted uniformly throughout the liquid. Pascal's law can be demonstrated with the help of a glass vessel having holes all over its surface, like in the picture. Fill it with the water, push the piston, the water rushes out of the holes in the vessel with the same pressure. The force applied on the piston exerts a pressure on water. See, whatever force we are applying on the piston, that will be exerts on the water. That pressure will be exerts on the water. This pressure transmitted equally throughout the liquid in all direction. The pressure will be equal, not by uneven pressure will not be applied. The pressure will be transmitted equally throughout the liquid in all directions. This principle is applied in various machines used in our daily life. Let me pass on to the next topic, which is hydraulic press. Pascal's law became the basis for one of the important machines ever developed, which is the hydraulic press. It consists of two cylinders of two different cross-sectional areas as shown in the figure. Look at the figure. Here we have two cross-sectional areas. One is smaller area and another one is larger area. The object to be lifted is placed over the piston of large cross-sectional area. The force F1 is applied on the piston of small cross-sectional area. F1 force and F1 and A1 for the small cross-sectional area. F1 is a force for the small cross-sectional area and A1 is the area for the small cross-section area. And the pressure P produced by small piston is transmitted equally to large piston and a force F2 acts on greater area which is much larger than F1. Already we have discussed Pascal's law. The same concept here also is there. So what is that? The pressure is transmitted equally throughout the liquid in all directions. So what we did here, we applied force F1 force on the small cross-sectional area. The pressure P produced, whatever the pressure produced by the small piston, is transmitted equally to the large piston, and a force F2 acts on A, which is much larger than F1. That is, F1 force is smaller than F2. F2 force is greater, much more greater than F1. So pressure on piston of small area, we can take it as P1 is equal to F1 divided by A1. Already I told you as a force for a smaller area we can take it as F1, and area for the smaller area we can consider as A1. Applying the Pascal's law, the pressure on a large piston area will be the same as that on the small piston. Therefore, pressure for the larger area, which is P2 is equal to F2 divided by A2. Students, already we have discussed about the pressure formula in thrust. You can know a pressure is equal to force divided by area. Already we have discussed. We have to compare both the equations. Both the pressures we have to compare, because the pressure is equally transmitted on both the cross sections. So that we are comparing the both the pressure here. So we can compare F1 by A1, which is equal to F2 divided by A2. So we can find out the force F2. So the formula becomes F2 is equal to F1 into A2 divided by A1. Since the ratio A2 by A1 is greater than 1, the force F2 acts on the larger piston is greater than the force F1 acting on smaller piston, which already we have discussed. So that hydraulic system is working in this way are known as force multiplier. What is called force multipliers. I hope you are all understood.
Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the chemistry class. Our next topic is discovery of neutrons. And students, we know already atom having 3 subatomic particles: proton, electron and neutron. And proton and neutron is present in the nucleus and electrons revolving around the nucleus. So, in this class, we study about the discovery of neutrons, and we know neutron is present in the nucleus. This is James Chadwick. He discovered the neutron. And students, according to this Bohr's model, in the previous class we discussed Bohr's model. So according to this Bohr's model, the entire mass of atom is concentrated in the center of the atom, because electron's mass is negligible compared to the mass of proton. So the entire mass is present in the center of the atom, and protons are present in the center of the atom. And scientists took 2 nuclei, hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen has 1 proton and helium has 2 protons. So mass of helium is twice the mass of hydrogen. But it was observed mass of helium is 4 times the mass of hydrogen. So extra mass is coming in the helium atom. So scientists identified some extra particle present in the nucleus. This extra particle giving the extra mass of the helium atom. So James Chadwick was interested and curious to know where that extra mass is coming from helium atom's nucleus. So he done one experiment. he used beryllium nucleus and he projected alpha particles in the beryllium nucleus. He observed some particles emitted with about the same mass as protons. He called that particle as neutron. So neutron is a neutral particle because neutron neither having positive charge nor negative charge. So this is a neutral particle. So Chadwick done this experiment by using beryllium nucleus. He projected alpha particles in the beryllium nucleus. He observed some particles emitted. That particle mass is nearly same the mass as proton, but this particle is a neutral particle. So neutron is a neutral particle and it is denoted by 0n1. The superscript 1 represents its mass and subscript 0 represents its electric charge. So, in helium nucleus, 2 neutrons present. Already 2 protons present in helium. So, 2 proton and 2 neutron is present in helium. So, its mass is 4 times heavier than hydrogen because we know neutron mass is nearly the same mass of proton. So, 2 neutron and 2 protons are present. So, mass of a helium atom is heavier than mass of hydrogen atom. It is heavier than 4 times compared to hydrogen. Okay students, now we see some important properties of neutron. Already we know neutron is a neutral particle. So, neutron is present inside the nucleus and they are neutral in charge. The mass of the neutron is nearly equal to the mass of a proton. And children, what are the properties of neutron? Neutron is present in the nucleus and a neutron is a neutral particle and a neutron mass is nearly equal to the mass of a proton. Okay students, next we discuss some characteristics of subatomic particle. And students, you know what are the subatomic particles? Proton, electron and neutron. Look the table. Proton and neutron mass is nearly same. And what is the charge of proton? Plus charge. And what is the charge of electron? Negative charge. What is the charge of neutron? Neutral charge. There is no charge. And this is the some characteristics of subatomic particle. And students, what is meant by subatomic particle? That particle is present inside the atom. So it is called as subatomic particles. Okay students, so next we discuss geometric representation of atomic structure of elements. Once we represent the atomic structure, we should know the atomic number of an element. Atomic number is number of proton or number of electron. We know in any atom, number of proton is always equal to number of electron. So atomic number denotes that is either the number of proton or number of electron. So in magnesium, what is the atomic number? Where we write the atomic number? We write the atomic number in the subscript and the mass number in the superscript. And what is the symbol for magnesium? Mg. So 12 Mg24. So 12 we written in the subscript. So that is the atomic number because always we represent the atomic number in the subscript and we write the mass number in the superscript. So 12 is the atomic number and 24 is the mass number. So 12 we know that is an atomic number. So that means either that is a number of proton or number of electron. Then how we calculate number of neutron? Mass number minus atomic number. What is the mass number? 24. What is the atomic number? 12. So 24 minus 12 is equal to 12. That is number of protons. Sorry, number of neutrons. So you mention the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus. So how many protons present? Atomic number 12. So 12 protons or 12 electrons are present. And how many neutrons are present? Mass number minus atomic number. We get 12. So that is the number of neutrons. So we know proton and neutron is present in the nucleus. So we can write 12 proton and 12 neutron in the nucleus. And we know 12 electrons revolving around the nucleus. So this is the geometric representation of magnesium atom structure. And next another one example. geometric representation of oxygen. 8 oxygen 16. 8 is the subscript, so that is the atomic number, and 16, that is the superscript, so that is the mass number. So 8 means atomic number, either number of proton or number of electron. So mass number 16. So how do we calculate number of neutron? Mass number minus atomic number. So 16 minus 8, we get 8. So that is the number of neutrons. So we should mention the number of proton and number of neutron in the nucleus. So in this example, 8 proton and 8 neutron. So you should mention in the nucleus 8p and 8n. P means proton, n means neutron. And 8 electrons are revolving around the nucleus. So this is the geometric representation of oxygen atom. And students, you learn first 20 elements name and its symbol. This number is the atomic number. In modern periodic table, the elements are arranged in the increasing order of atomic number. That we discuss in your next chapter. This is electronic structure of the first 20 elements. So just you study first 20 elements name and symbol and atomic number. Okay students, so we completed our second lesson, atomic structure. In the next class, I give you overall review in the atomic structure lesson. Thank you.